I heard this shot, and I say shot because I immediately thought it was a shot. I immediately thought it was a rifle shot. I've hunted a great deal in my life. I fired a rifle many times, and I thought it was a rifle shot. Why, I don't know, but I immediately thought of an assassination attempt. It's the only thing that crossed my mind. Fear just swept through me, and I immediately thought of him, of course. I was sitting on the jump seat in the 7-passenger car immediately in front of him. And I turned, thinking that the shot had come from back over my right shoulder. And I turned to look in that direction, I think motivated by two things. First, to see if I could see where the shot came from, see if I could see anything unusual. But equally or more important to me at that moment in my thought processes was a desire to see him, see if anything had happened, see if he was all right. So I turned, and I obviously saw nothing but a tremendous crowd of people from where we had just come. And I saw nothing unusual, nothing out of the way, except people also had startled looks on their faces. They were turning, they were looking, and I didn't catch him in the corner of my eye. So I was in the process of turning to my left, to look back over my left shoulder, to see if I could see him in the back seat. And that's when I felt the impact of the bullet that hit me. There was no great pain associated with the bullet that hit me, notwithstanding it went in my back shoulder and came out my chest right here. I felt as if someone had just hit me in the back, a sharp blow with a doubled-up fist. It was an impact rather than any sort of a searing pain. It more or less knocked me over at least enough to where I looked down, and of course I was covered with blood, and frankly thought that I had been fatally hit. I said, as I recall, my God, they're going to kill us all. So there was no thought in my mind really but what this was, an assassination attempt. I did not hear the second shot, the one that hit me. I understand there's some question in the minds of the experts about whether or not we could both have been hit with the same bullet, and that was the first bullet. I just don't happen to believe that. I don't believe it, and I will believe it. Because, again, I heard the first shot. I recognized it for what I thought it was. I had time to turn, to try to see what had happened. I was in the process of turning again before I felt the impact of a bullet. Now, obviously, if the bullet that hit me before I could hear it, I was never conscious of the sound of the second bullet at all. I never heard the second bullet. After I said, my God, they're going to kill us all, I, of course, didn't know that they'd actually hit the president. Because I had not seen him. He had not said a word. And about that time, Nellie pulled me down into, I had turned again in reaction to this bullet and had turned facing my right. She pulled me over into her lap and put her head down on top of mine and just kept talking to me and saying, you're going to be all right, you're going to be all right. I was conscious the whole time. I never lost consciousness, and I was lying there and heard the third shot. Now, it takes a long time to tell this, Eddie, but this all happened, as you well know, in a matter of seconds. I heard the third shot very distinctly. I heard it hit. I assumed that it hit the president, and it obviously did. But I did not see it hit him, but I heard it hit. And you obviously, again, if you've ever done any firing, even at 200 or 300 yards, when you fire a rifle at a deer, you know from the sound of that shell, the whine of it, whether or not it hit its target or whether it didn't. It makes a different sound. Well, obviously, the bullet, the third shot, hit something. And it was very obvious after that because the evidence was splattered all over the car and all over my clothes and all over Nellie. And so there was no question about what had happened. My eyes were open. I was conscious. I saw the two Secret Service men in the front seat. I heard what they said.
What did they say?
Roy Kellerman, who was in the right front, between the the second and the third shot, between the time I was hit and between the time of the third shot, both the driver and Roy were looking back into the back seat to see what had happened. This was all, again, happening in a matter of seconds. And they both had a look of almost consternation on their face. Roy, in the right seat, turned around on a radio communications, obviously, working something on the panel of the car, and said, get out of the line, or something to the driver, words to that effect, get out of the line. And then he said, apparently over the radio, get us to a hospital quick. So we immediately pulled out of the caravan and began picking up speed.
The car never stopped, did it?
No, the car never stopped. And about this time, I lost consciousness. I was not conscious on the ride to the hospital, which is only a matter of about 6 or 7 minutes. I came to again. Apparently the braking action of the car brought me back to consciousness. And Nellie later told me, of course, that we had a very wild ride, and apparently we were traveling at a very, very high rate of speed down the freeway to the hospital. It was a time of just unbelievable stark tragedy. So many things go through your mind at that moment that I think it's probably impossible to relate at any future time, all the things that you thought. I know I thought, again, I rather assumed, without knowing, that the president had been fatally wounded. And I rather assumed that I had been. And so constantly there was going through my mind thoughts of Nellie, of the children, of what you'd done, and it's really difficult, I think, to try to explain all the things that you wonder about, all the things that you concern yourself with at a time like that.